What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Reppin with Gina G, a show where I rep my teams by the Bay. And in this episode, for the first time on this show, I'll be repping the Golden State Warriors. I'm a hardcore Dubs fan, and especially because I was born during the 74th season, I can't say that I've been celebrating since like the 80s, celebrating well, you know what I'm trying to say. I wasn't celebrating the 74-75 season, just the last like 4 championships. So basically the last most recent dynasty. You know what I'm trying to say. So let's repeat and continue the dynasty. The NBA season is already underway. The Golden State Warriors hosted the Los Angeles Lakers on opening night and ceremoniously accepted their championship rings and hung their newest banner. However, they are currently in 7th place with a record of 2-1, but that doesn't mean much given that the season has just begun. I've got a great episode for you. I'm joined by a special guest, host of the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game and host of the Warriors pre-game, post-game show on NBC Sports Bay Area. Please welcome my homie, Bonta Hill. What's up, Bonta?
What's up, Gina? What's going on?
How you doing today?
Oh, I'm good, man. Dubs get the win against Sacramento. I mean, everything is all well. Whenever you bring up the Warriors, it just puts a smile on your face.
Yep, especially coming off that season, like with the parade and everything, and Steph's looking good, wigs. Just happy to have that ring. I am. I hopefully we'll get some people in the chat, but thank you so much. Whoever's joining in soon, please make sure you hit that like button, join in the live chat, comment, and please subscribe. And before I get started on the questions, I'm going to show everybody a quick video because I thought this was hilarious. I didn't even know that I had won. I had someone shout me out on, they're like, hey, you won. And I was like, what the hell? So I'm going to show this quick video. It's only a minute long. Hang tight.
How about this one? This one opened earlier. This poll. We were giving away 5 autographed Warriors playoff t-shirts autographed by the one and only Chris Mullen. You had to follow NBCS Warriors on Twitter. Tag a friend in the comments. We did this earlier today. It is now closed, and Mully has the winners.
Have the winners, guys.
Uh-oh. Get the mic up, Mully. Get the mic up. There we go.
Pikachu 510.
Okay.
Susie Tag. Ramon Recon. Ryan Himes. I like this one. Gina
Reppin the Bay.
The Bay.
Reppin the
That's
Bay.
our 5
Gina
winners.
Reppin the Bay. That's my homegirl. Congrats.
Really?
Maybe I rigged it. Maybe
put
I
the
did.
fix in?
No, I didn't put it in. Nobody. Wow. She wins everything.
Congratulations.
She wins everything.
Kind of a booby prize, but congratulations.
All right, E42 is going to join us live on set.
41.
I had a
That's
blast
amazing.
with that one.
That's amazing.
And I wish I won everything, but thinking back, I was like, I was invited by Matt Nahigan, to come to 95.7 The Games, back in 2019.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then the second time, not ashamed, I crashed the next one after we won the divisional against the Vikings. And I showed up with my brother, who as Bird Chest.
Yeah, we know Bird Chest very, very well. That's my
But
guy.
yeah. So, and you and Hef and my brother Ryan Mafi, went down to SoFi for the NFC Championship game last year, and
And they joined us for the Mafia breakfast. They were there at the
right
Mafia breakfast. So hopefully
down
we
at
can do
SoFi.
many
Yeah,
more of those. So
yeah.
they're day one
So,
Niner fans, day one Bay fans. I know
yep,
Hef isn't a Warrior fan. Ryan is. Hef got bumped
yeah,
on his head and he started following LeBron James, but it's all family, man. It's all love.
yeah. So, getting back to some words, because I don't want to take up too much of your time, but what I liked about game one against the Lakers, and we could talk Lakers, what a mess they are, but I won't. Rotations, what we saw from Coach Kerr was him, and he usually does this in the beginning of the year, is he plays around with some rotations. And then I was thinking, what I notice is he doesn't really get settled into rotations, maybe like shortly before All-Star break, but that's just
Mhm.
me. What do you think, especially with now JK and Moses they got some minutes in the playoffs last season, and I like them a lot, but now that they're in their second year, what do you think about how they're going to get settled with what Steve's going to do?
Yeah, it's going to take some time for Steve Kerr and his second unit. Now it's led by Jordan Poole, who we know offensively, shooting wise, he didn't get off to the greatest start. 4 of 15 against the Lakers, only took 5 shots against the Denver Nuggets, and he started to get cooking against the Sacramento Kings. Jordan Poole is going to lead that second unit, and the two-man game between Jordan Poole and James Wiseman is already lethal. Those two guys in the pick and roll game are going to get bucket after bucket after bucket. James Wiseman's hands is getting a lot better. The vertical spacing. And then, of course, Jordan Poole with his first step in his ball handling, he can create shots for himself, create shots for James Wiseman all day long. Now, sometimes you could be too deep, right? And once we get into the playoffs, we're going to see an 8 to 9 man rotation. Let's just face it. The rotation gets short because Steph and Trey and Clay and Drew Wiggins are going to see a lot more minutes. Even Kevon Looney, those minutes that they're playing in the regular season, whether it's 32 to 34, is going to get bumped up to around 36 to 30, 37 to 38 minutes a game. So that leaves some of the youngsters, and this is where the regular season is going to help develop them. There's going to be rocky roads defensively, because the biggest thing in the playoffs is you got to be short. You got to be buttoned up on the defensive end. You got to get buckets, but you also got to play legit defense. And so right now for the youngsters, and that's a problem for any young player in the NBA, early on is going to take time to get better defensively, learning the systems, learning concepts, communication, knowing where to be, when to help, when not to help. And so Kuminga, Wiseman, and Moody are all going to get there someday. Maybe it doesn't happen in the first month of the season. Maybe it happens in the second month of the season. But with Dante DiVincenzo now battling a hamstring injury, those players, Moody, Wiseman, Jonathan Kuminga, are going to see a lot more minutes. Now, JaMychal Green, we know, is a veteran. He could play. He understands the spacing.
Yeah.
He understands when to shoot it. He'll be fine. Poole will be fine. And also the second unit is going to get a bump once Klay Thompson gets his minutes bumped up. So he'll be playing alongside Jordan Poole, which defenses are going to have to honor. Right now, they're not honoring DiVincenzo or JaMychal Green for the three-point line. So they're helping off of them and really kind of beelining towards Jordan Poole to where he's seeing multiple defenders. They will be fine. It's going to take some time. Take 2 months. Could take a month. Could take 20 games. Could take 25. But the fact is that they had this luxury to play these young guys in the regular season and just get them up to speed. It may happen in losses to where they have to learn. But getting them up to speed this season for the playoffs, this is a great insurance policy for Steve Kerr, because he could always shorten the rotation, and he will when we get to the playoffs. But how long is it going to take for some of these young guys? You just never know. But the fact is, they have to continue to play. And that's the one thing I love about the rotations is they are getting minutes to play and learn on the fly.
And, I actually want to jump to this next question, because I see this every season, and I find myself defending him a lot. Kerr, why does he get so much hate? I feel like, he obviously is one of the top, 15 coaches ever to, in the NBA.
Yeah.
He's obviously been doing this well. Is it because he's inherited all-stars.
Yeah. Well, you need talent, Gina, to win in the NBA. You need talent. Phil Jackson needed talent.
Right.
All the Greg Popovich needed talent. Pat Riley needed talent. It's how do you coach that talent, and how do you have that talent mesh together? It's not easy navigating a team full of pros. You know what I'm saying? All NBA players like a Stephen Curry, like a Kevin Durant, like a Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. There's a lot of egos you have to manage. This is the NBA. These are the most arrogant players in the world, and they have a right to be arrogant.
And having players become stars like Jordan Poole.
Yep, no doubt, and get better. And Andrew Wiggins gets settled. So Steve Kerr's just fine. I mean, look, fan is short for fanatic, right? Guru always says that, and it's true. Fans are always going to look to point the finger at somebody. We talk 49ers, and I get labeled as a Jimmy G hater. But the quarterback is the most important position in the field. So we always look at quarterback and head coach. That's just what we do. So Steve Kerr, you would think that when it comes to hate with Steve Kerr, I don't know if you listen, 4 championships in 8 years, offensive explosions, the way they play, they are the model of the NBA. Can we nitpick with some of the rotations? Absolutely, we can. But when it matters, he gets it done. How can you criticize a head coach who has coached this team and they haven't lost a series in the Western Conference under Steve Kerr? Think about that. Haven't lost a series in the Western Conference, which is supposed to be the most daunting conference in the NBA. So the Kerr hate's always going to be there. We're always going to nitpick. It's not an easy job. But look, 4 rings in 8 years. All right? 4, and if they win another one this year, he'll be on a short list of 6 people as player-coach combos to win at least 10 rings in the NBA. He'll be up there with Phil Jackson. He'll be up there with Red Auerbach. He'll be up there with Casey Jones and Bill Russell. So I don't get it. I don't know why he gets so much hate. You would thought that type of hate, that type of talk would have ended last season in the NBA Finals, but it is what it is. Steve Kerr, we're always going to blame somebody, especially with the Golden State Warriors. Nobody's going to blame Steph for anything. Nobody's going to blame the players at all. So Steve Kerr's fine. I mean, I don't get why he gets hate. It's just a small segment of the fan base. I wouldn't listen to him because it's just noise.
Shout out to Rod. He joins me on my 49ers podcast. He's a regular guest, actually, and we do overreactions. And thanks, Rod. I appreciate you joining us. And that also leads me to another question I have for you. Being on the Morning Roast and you get all these crazy callers, and especially on Twitter, I see you getting just thrown at by trolls, and then they call you a troll, which I find insane. What is the craziest, or I'm sure you can't remember all of them, but what's the craziest either trade scenario or this lineup, like throw in Moody and then or throw in Wiseman with Klay and then maybe a couple of rookies or something? Like, what have you heard that's blown your mind?
I heard, if I'm not mistaken, I heard somebody tell me the Warriors should trade Andrew Wiggins and I believe that number 2 overall pick when they had James Wiseman for Buddy Hield in Sacramento's number 12 pick. All right. Okay. That was an insane one to me, because not understanding who Andrew Wiggins is as a player, not being able to see the potential he has defensively. And now you look at the start of his season, it's just a carryover from the NBA Finals, where he had an icon in Game 5, 26 points, 13 rebounds. We know what he did to Luka Doncic. We know about the moments he had in Game 4 alongside Stephen Curry, 2 big putbacks in the paint in that fourth quarter when they rallied back. That one was wild to me, because Buddy Hield's a one-trick pony. He doesn't play the Warriors way, which is ball movement. When you give him the ball sticks. He's a one-dimensional player. He's a sharpshooter. He doesn't understand spacing. He doesn't move at all offensively or defensively.
He just stands there. He's like a statue.
Right. So to latch on the number 2 pick, which became James Wiseman and Andrew Wiggins, for Buddy Hield in the number 12 pick in Sacramento, was one of the more insane ones that I've run across my day. So I mean, look, I've had crazy trade requests when the Niners had the number 2 pick for Nick and they drafted Nick Bosa. I was on the airway saying, you know what, maybe they should trade that pick for Antonio Brown because they need a wide receiver and he's dynamic. Now I walked it back, but we all throw out some crazy trade scenarios. But if you're asking me if the one I heard from somebody else, That would be the one, Gina. That would be the one.
Yeah.
Andrew Wiggins and the number 2 pick for Buddy Hill, the Sacramento's 12th pick.
Yeah, I was always team keep Wiseman, because I thought you can't just throw away somebody that
No.
you have no idea what their potential is. We saw him play a few games and he did well. So why it's kind of like Trey Lance. Like we've
Right.
only seen a handful. I saw, the first half of the Texans game, and then he came out after halftime and did so well.
Yeah.
And I was literally there at Levi's. So I thought,
Yeah.
and now people want to trade him. Oh, he's not coming back,
It's always, I mean, James Wiseman as a rookie played in 39 games, averaged 11.6 rebounds. You see him coming off the bench, dropping 14, dropping 12. Defensively, he needs a lot of work. That's no secret. He has to get better in screen setting. Oh, yeah, he's so young, but he got to get better in screen setting, rebounding, blocking shots, altering shots.
Hardly played college.
He will get there. But offensively, coming off the bench, his mid-range game is smooth. His floater is good.
Oh, I love his floaters.
His hands has gotten better. Like James Wiseman's going to be just fine. So
he
there's always some crazy
summer.
Yeah, no doubt. He had an excellent summer, and he was working, and you could tell that he was working in the summer.
Right. He's like, I want minutes. Like,
No doubt.
So
no doubt.
Yeah, that's I did say that I wanted. I thought maybe, Wiggins, because I wasn't really following him in Minnesota, but I never thought he was a bust. I just said, well, we don't really know. But now looking back, I was like, that's
he's a baller.
I'm glad I was wrong.
Sometimes then this is why I believe in culture. When you take a player out of a toxic situation like it was in Minnesota, and you bring them to the Golden State Warriors, who are the gold standard in the NBA now. Everybody's trying to do what the Warriors do. Everybody's trying to hire Warrior assistants and front office executives because of what they do in their culture. You brought him to this culture. He no longer had to carry a franchise. He got to slide to the side alongside Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, and you see him thrive. Wide open shots, step back, fade away. It's all there for Andrew Wiggins. He had all the talent, and Rod Adams, the assistant coach, when they traded for him, and you think about that trade, that's an all-time robbery. When you trade for Andrew Wiggins and the number 7th overall pick, because Minnesota's pick was top 3 protected, that turns into Jonathan Kuminga. Got Jonathan Kuminga and Andrew Wiggins for D'Angelo Russell and Omari Spellman and Jacob Evans. That's an all-time robbery, all time. So Wiggins is just fine.
Yep, we won that one. What about the West? And because I didn't want to bring up the East because it's so far down the line in this season. The Lakers, like I said, is a whole nother story. They're a complete wreck. Who's the most underrated, and why is it the Pelicans? No. And then we could talk about who's the biggest, who will be the biggest problem, which, maybe it's the Nuggets. I'm not sure, but who's underrated right now?
Well, I believe it is those Pelicans. I think they're going to make that jump like the Memphis Grizzlies did last season, where the Memphis Grizzlies went from playoff team to number 2 seed in the Western Conference. If Zion Williamson is healthy, alongside budding superstar Brandon Ingram, he is a problem. And they've got all the pieces. CJ McCollum is a walking bucket. We know about that about CJ. He gets buckets. And Willie Green's a very underrated young coach in this league. He gets to his team. We saw the sideline. We saw him on the sidelines during the playing game against the Clippers in the playoffs. He really rode that team. And they responded. They responded in a big way. So, I mean, it's hard not to go Pelicans in the Western Conference. I know that's the easy way out. But when you look at the West.
I thought they should have made it. Or they were close to making it. I mean, I was kind of low-key cheering them on. Well,
they took the Suns to 6 games last year, and they had Chris Paul being all petty. So they got to Chris Paul, and that was Jose Alvarado, the little scrappy point guard off the bench. So the Pelicans, in my opinion, could be a big-time problem. Dallas is going to be there. Denver's going to be there. We know about those teams. I actually think Minnesota's going to take a step back. Personally, but I think the Pelicans are the sleeper in the Western Conference. It's hard to go against that. And as far as the biggest problem for the Golden State Warriors, I mean, it's the LA Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. I think the Denver Nuggets adding Bruce Brown and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope alongside Jokic, alongside Murray, once he gets his mentals right and he gets his legs under him, and Michael Porter Jr.
Coming back.
right?
Yeah.
Coming back after only playing 9 games last year, Denver's going to be a problem. And they understand if they want to get to where they need to get to, they're going to have to get through the Golden State Warriors. And they match up well, although I still will have the Warriors in the best of 7 series. The Clippers have a lot of length, and they have a lot of toughness, and they have a lot of shot makers. They are going to be there as long as they're healthy. Kawhi Leonard, special player. Paul George, boy, he could Paul George
he could go either way. Yeah.
He could go either way, but they're deep just like the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of veterans there who understand what they need to do to get to the promised land. So I'd say the biggest problems for me out west would be the Denver Nuggets and then the LA Clippers. And the sneaky one, look, Memphis is going to be there too. Let's see what Memphis does at the deadline, because Memphis still is a tough team. And they got that experience last year against the Golden State Warriors. And that 6-game series could have gone either way. And then the Dallas Mavericks with Christian Wood coming off the bench. Can't sleep on the Mavericks, who are trying to capitalize off that Western Conference Finals berth from the season ago. So the top of the West is really, really good.
Yeah.
I don't think Phoenix will be there in the end. Chris Paul's getting long in the tooth. I think there's something amiss out in Phoenix with the drama and everything, but I really like the Denver Nuggets and the Clippers as the biggest problems for the Golden State Warriors, and right behind them is the Memphises and, of course, the Dallas Mavericks.
I believe firmly that last season we could have beat the Suns over the Mavs.
Yeah, me too.
We had their number last season.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they would have beat the Suns 2 in 7 games. I wanted to beat Chris Paul and the Suns, and I actually thought the Mavericks would be a tougher matchup because of Luka Doncic. And look, it was a 5-game series, but game 2 flipped everything with the Warriors coming back from a 19, 20-point deficit. Remember, Kevon Looney with that big third quarter in that game when Draymond Green got into foul trouble. So Dallas took them to the brink in that game 2, and that was the series right there. Once the Warriors went up 2-0, it was basically a wrap.
Right. Kevon Looney really impressed me. Like, he had his breakout season, I feel like.
Yep.
Him and Wiggs. Who do you like better? While we're on the topic of the West, who do you like better? And now I know Luka has all the accolades and everything, but who would you say is like, my favorite is Ja Morant, but there's always this debate. Luka over Ja. I maybe Ja's more flashier, but I just feel like Ja is more of he won like Rookie of the Year, which I predicted, by the way, in preseason. But I just feel like Ja's better in terms of maybe not skill. I don't know. I just like him better.
Look, you could flip a coin, right? If you had the number 1 pick and you took Ja Morant, I'd gladly take Luka Doncic. If you had the number 1 pick and took Luka Doncic, I had no problem taking Ja Morant. They're both special players. I think long term, though, with the body type, Ja Morant gets banged around a lot. He's had some knee issues. When you're that acrobatic, when they're that skillful, but you have a small frame like that, how long can he take that pounding? Ja Morant's a tough player. I do believe if Luka continues to be in shape and if he takes care of his body will help him be a factor longer over the course of his career than Ja Morant. Now, Luka can do special things. However, Ja can do special things without the ball now as well. So he's improving just like Luka Doncic. Look, they're both MVP candidates. You could really go no wrong. I think they're good young players for this league, good young players to carry their franchises. It's going to be very interesting to see where their careers goes. Luka's special. He's a walking triple-double. But Ja, he's Iverson on drugs to me. You know, he's Iverson 2.0. He's got the swagger. He fits the culture in Memphis. He will dunk on you. He talks that talk. He brings that street ball element into the NBA. He brings that playground element into the NBA. And he's a tough dude, and they flock behind him. So as a leader right now, I think Ja's a better leader than Luka Doncic. And when you talk about the player, they're both really, really special, really skillful, man. They're dynamic, and that's why the league is in good hands. Once LeBron retire, and it's just because you got the Lukas and the Ja Morants. But you know, I like Ja a lot, man. He's a tough kid.
Yeah, totally. It's speaking of MVP. So why isn't Steph? I mean, I have my opinion is so Steph isn't really. I think he's like further down the list. I'm not even sure what the odds are, but he just won Finals MVP for the first time. He's, you know, I just can't stop thinking about what they gonna say now. What they gonna say now, right? And he's my favorite player, like probably now more than Jerry Rice, Joe
Wow.
Montana, I
Wow.
think, because I
Uh-huh.
mean Jerry is just, you know,
Yeah, no
um,
doubt.
oh God, and I feel like maybe it's because of load management. He's older. They want to keep him from injury because of last season with the ankle and in the Celtics game.
Right.
What do you think, Bonte?
Uh, well, Giannis is younger, right? And he's got the body type, and it feels like the award has started to shift back to the big man, right? Jokic, two-time MVP, two in a row. Embiid's been knocking on the door, Joel Embiid from the Philadelphia 76ers. So that plus 1,600 bet alongside Ja Morant, Steph and Ja have the same MVP odds, and I would put them in the top 5, yet they're
Mhm.
at the bottom half of the top 10, which makes no sense to me as well. Some people will say, well, the Warriors are, they think it's, oh, well, they're just loaded. They have an embarrassment of riches. He has a lot of help. Yet last year, a lot of people, even including Warrior fans, are saying, well, he doesn't have enough help. He only has one other all-star alongside of him. I know Draymond Green didn't play in that all-star game. You look at all the ESPN rankings with their top 50 players. I think Steph was the only top 50 player. Or Wiggins may have been top 40. I don't remember the rankings too much, kind of glossed through it. But
Mhm.
it's like, wait, he has a great team around him, but yet it doesn't feel like that with the way people talk about the Golden State Warriors or the way they discuss them. So, look, Steph's off to a blistering start, 33 points a game so far to start the
Mhm.
season, 100 points in 88 minutes to start the season. He looks fresh. The
Yeah.
three-point shot. I'm just happy that he shut everybody up in the NBA Finals. I'm sure Steph would
Right.
like another MVP, but look, he got the Finals MVP, he got the All-Star Game MVP, he has a three-point record. I think he's
Mhm.
just fine. And let the rings talk. When he gets number
Right.
5, one for the thumb, now all of a sudden he ties Tim Duncan. All of a sudden he ties
Right.
Kobe Bryant. All of a sudden he's one
Mhm.
behind Michael Jordan. All of a sudden he surpasses the great LeBron James. So, I just,
Yep.
I don't think it matters for him. And like the whole MVP talk, I don't even care anymore because I understand that they're not going to show him or they're not going to give him his just due. That's just the way it is
Right.
for some reason when it comes to
Right.
Stephen Curry.
Do you personally, do you watch ESPN in those shows?
I don't. And I respect all of them, but I just can't. I
Did
can't.
did you used to?
Yeah, I did. And it's just, I don't like narrative driven stuff.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there seems to be narratives that talk about everything but the game. I think the great thing about the morning row and what we do at 95.7 the games, we actually talk about the game. Now, when
Right.
there's drama and there's situations like the Draymond situation, you've got to discuss it. You've got to talk about it. It's in our backyard. It's one of the biggest stories in sports. But in terms of the ESPN shows, I'd rather watch a game back, you know?
I hear you. I was like that too. And once in a while, I just want to see like if somebody wins, like Jimmy does well, or if
Right.
Steph has a breakout game, and they get literally like 1 minute
Mhm.
of recognition.
Oh, yeah. No, they get no airtime.
I wanted to ask you before we wrap up, just like maybe a sort of personal question, but not really. How do you stay humble? Like you grew up here in the city, you work with and you meet all these legends and everything like that. I mean, you work side by side with like Festus Sealy and Chris Mullen. Like, you're with how do you remember all those stats? You just flip them off in the pregame show and the postgame show. I'm just like, how do you do it?
It's a disease, I guess.
And I know you used to do journalism and do all
Yeah.
those high school games and like Sacred
Mhm.
Heart and everything. Like,
Right.
you're the
Well,
shit. Like, seriously.
Well, you asked me how to remain humble. Well, it's easy. Remember where you came from, and
Bam.
really think about like, how you could be replaced in an instant second. There's a lot
Yep.
of hungry people out there who would love to have my job. And who am I to walk around here with an ego and be cocky? I'm just covering the
Kind of
game.
like Steph, right?
Yeah, you can't. It just makes no sense. So you got to be thankful for all the trials and tribulations through this journey of where you started. Remember where you started. Don't big
Right.
time. Like I don't. It's not a character flaw for me. Like
Yeah.
being egotistical and trying to be like, oh, look at me, I'm so and so. Like that's just not my DNA. So it's easy to remain humble. I'm thankful.
Yeah.
I'm blessed. I get to do this in my own backyard. And so when it comes to remembering stats, it takes research. It's constant reading. And my mind just soaks up numbers for some reason.
Yeah.
When it comes to sports, it remembers everything. Ask me about 100 plus 100. My mind may forget. Oh, wait, is it 200? I think it is. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm kidding, but you get the point. So it's just what I do. It's just what I've done for so long, and so it kind of becomes second nature.
That's awesome. I'm so grateful, and I think you're doing amazing. And with you're a family man too, a girl dad. So I love seeing all the pics and everything. And with Anna, is it or Anna?
Anna, yeah.
Yeah. So just super happy for you and everything.
Thanks, Gina.
So I hope to get you back on the show, maybe somewhere down the line when to talk more Warriors and hopefully Niners too.
Absolutely.
Praying that the season turns around.
Yeah, let's see about that. Let's see about that.
Last season we kind of turned it around when they were losing 4 games in a row. So I'm hoping the same shit happens. This is a explicit language show, so I'm hoping that shit turns around.
No doubt. No doubt.
I mean, yeah, we've got to do something. So thank you, Wise. We got Wise in the chat, and he's a great listener and viewer of the show. So thanks, Wise, Dubs fan and Niners fan. So I'm going to do my outro, and I want to thank everybody for joining in, and especially the people that view it back. And Bonta, you're amazing, and thanks, you, Gina, for coming on. And I'm going to do my outro. So appreciate y'all for joining in, and that's going to do it. And go Dubs, and go Niners too.
How about this?
Wrong one.